Hey, everybody, this is the Full Vantage podcast, and this is my attempt to document and share the lessons I've learned and am learning as I help build community and culture from scratch that will make an impact that lasts forever. This is the Full Vantage podcast. This is Full Vantage podcast times hashtag with my bestie, Sean Morris.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
You just call me your bestie.
Yeah. Is that a thing?
I love it. It makes me so happy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've missed you. 1.
I missed you too.
2, we have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Like an actual ton to talk about.
I'm excited.
I don't know if I don't know if we have enough SD space.
Okay.
Like, I don't think we have enough memory. But I would love for us, okay, just real quick, Sean leads worship at this thing called the 1825 in Knoxville, and he has led worship for how many years? 30?
No, not that old. I'm not as old as you. That's not true. I'm actually older.
I like your pearls.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I wore them just for you.
I like when you wear them every time.
Yeah, well, I'll start. No, I've been in full-time vocational ministry for 14 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, been a worship pastor that whole time.
There's this rumor that you were also a baseball player.
That was a long time ago.
Rumor.
Now you're really showing my age.
This was a rumor, though.
Yeah, there was a rumor. I heard that rumor.
A few people have said that you are athletic. I consider myself one of those few.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate that. There's only, it's like one of those like underground things, right? Like not a lot of people know about it, but it's really cool if you do.
Right.
So like you're one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Well, I mostly know that you are somewhat athletic because we do athletic things together.
We do.
AKA basketball.
I love basketball. We were just talking about
his favorite player of all time in the NBA is.
Well, he's not in the NBA.
No, he is.
No, he's definitely not.
Yeah, he's currently in the NBA.
He's for sure not, and I know what you're going to say now.
It is the GOAT.
Bro, you are trying so hard to get people to put hateful comments.
LeBron James.
James Harden.
Now,
LeBron's one of those.
Yeah, LeBron's great. James Harden, pretty good.
Fantastic.
They're both good.
But my boy.
Go ahead.
Kobe. Rest in peace.
I was listening to an amazing book the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, key is listening to the book.
Yeah.
Because who has time to read? I need more blank pages in books. I heard a joke about that the other day. I thought that was great for people's morale. Yep.
Nate
Bargatze. Yeah. I do.
I got tickets to go see him soon.
Come on.
We're excited about it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I was reading this amazing book, and you have one of Kobe's books.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a couple of them.
So I was reading this amazing book, and it was by his trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize that his trainer trained MJ and only MJ.
Yep.
And then MJ was like, that's Michael Jordan, if anyone's wondering.
Yeah, MJ. Not Michael Jackson.
No.
Dude, that's very different.
Different sports.
Okay.
And dude, what's crazy is MJ was like, I pay you to work with me and no one else.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gave him Kobe Bryant's contact and set him up after he was out of the league because he said, hey, there's someone else like me.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this. So Michael Jordan won 6 for 6 NBA championships that he went to. He won all 6.
Yep.
Kobe could have beat his record.
Could have.
Because he went 5 for 7.
Could have.
That means he had one more opportunity, fell short twice. Anyways, if you were to sum up, I thought this is a great place to begin. If you were to sum up Kobe Bryant's career in one word, what would it be? One word.
Mindset, mentality. And there's a whole aura around the Mamba mentality, right? But honestly, I think it's applicable to like everyday life, and you can apply it to whatever it is that you do in life, whether it be basketball or just athletics in general, or business, or ministry, and it's just how you prioritize and how you focus on what you're doing, and that's something that obviously I love watching him play. Phenomenal basketball player, but post his career, even though it was short lived, he was becoming an incredible creative and an incredible businessman because he was applying that same mindset to what he was doing in those fields as well. And so it was really inspirational to me in ministry as a creative, working with people, to see him make that transition and be really successful at it.
Yeah.
Right? Because we all want to be successful.
No doubt.
In whatever field that we're working in. So yeah.
Okay. I think that's great. I think that's a great place to begin because we don't ever get to talk about sport, it feels like. Or everyone was talking about a lot of things like why do you wear pearls or
hey,
what's the newest tattoo you got or
I got a few
or whatever. Look, I love your tattoos.
I appreciate
and your
it.
pearls are sick. But here's the thing. I think most people need to realize that just if you're listening to this, Sean and I have spent a lot of time together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe not many years, like we haven't spent a decade together, but we spent the amount of years that we were together. It was a lot of time.
I mean, like almost every day.
Yeah, every day.
And the majority of the day.
Yeah. And it was all geared around one thing, building a community of college students and young adults, building a community. Mm-hmm. And so I want to dive into literally the worst parts of community when it comes to building, when it comes to someone thinking about community. Mm-hmm. And you and I could talk about literally anything and everything for a long period of time, and we could argue, and we've done all of those things. But let's dive into the nitty gritty and stuff that people do not necessarily want to talk about, mm-hmm. but they do need to think about.
Absolutely.
Therefore, they need to talk about. Okay. Absolutely. So what's the worst thing happening in your mind right now when it comes to community building? Relationships. What's the worst thing happening in college students and young adults?
Man, I'm trying. Okay, so like I've got a few of them. I'm trying to narrow them down.
Yeah, it's okay. You can hit them. You can like go through a few if you'd like.
Yeah. So honestly,
top three.
Top three that come to mind is and this is these are kind of like bird's eye view, 10,000 foot. Please. And we can dive into them. But like authenticity.
Okay. Kind of a buzzword, honestly.
It is, and it attracts both ends of the spectrum, right? Because there's a lot of people who like they'll hear that and maybe they haven't experienced authenticity, right?
Sure.
And they're like, oh, they'll gravitate towards it. And then there's people who have been around people who say that word a lot and have not experienced it, and it's an immediate turnoff for them. And
right? Exactly. It's a trigger in some ways.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. So that's one, authenticity.
And so like there's a pendulum that swings and you need balance to find what true authenticity and genuineness is really like and how it's effective, right? So authenticity is a big one. Two more would be focus, right? Or commitment. Right, those two things in my mind kind of go hand in hand. So focus and commitment to something.
I like that.
There's so Austin is a stud. But look at that man. Austin and I were talking at coffee a couple weeks ago, and we were just talking about how to get people to commit to something, right? And it seems like our generation and the ones coming up are very focused on what is next, and they're focused on that like almost all the time.
Yep.
Which makes it really hard for them to say, hey, you know what? And this is another like buzz term. I hate using this many buzzwords.
That's okay.
It feels very cringy to me.
Oh,
but but it's really difficult for them to go, hey, you know what? Like where I'm at right now, the season I'm in, I'm just going to stay planted right here, and I'm going to grow where the Lord has me right now. So commitment to I guess the season of life you're in, right? And focusing on that and how to make that the best and learn the most. That's another obviously another deep topic we could dive into. And then the last one, I would say probably consistency, which kind of goes hand in hand with commitment, but it also kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
But consistency is a big thing that can, again, really turn people off, or really motivate people in the right ways.
Yeah.
So those are the three things that I think like we battle, like as leaders of college and young adults, and trying to help them grow.
No, I love that. And I think we need to, honestly, if you even broke that down, I would say that consistency may be even the through line of the three things that you said.
100%.
Because you went authenticity, focus, commitment, consistent with all three of those.
Yeah.
And I think consistency maybe even holds all of those three together on the tightrope that is growth, development, that is community.
Absolutely.
That is, hey, you attract who you are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're looking for authentic, guess what? If you're not it, you're not going to find it.
No.
If you're looking for someone that's focused and that values something, that doesn't just randomly go to a bunch of different things, you're going to have to be consistently focused on the things you say you value, which is also authentic. But guess what? You're going to have to commit. You're going to have some level of clarity when it comes to expectation, what do you want to come out of your life. So I say, like, let's dive into those things.
Yeah.
100%. And let's talk about what it could look like, and maybe even what are some stories or things. How did you have to learn it the hard way?
Yeah.
I think we honestly have to all learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
And
it seems so more often than not, especially now, like with so many outlets for gathering information, right? It's hard to know like which path to follow.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, especially like me, you just end up going, I'm just gonna kind of go with what I think, or what I feel is right, and then I end up running into a brick wall.
No, and I think that's key. Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is it hard for you, Sean Morris? What's your handle?
At the Sean.
At the Sean. I almost did it. I knew it, but then I was like, I don't want to just say the wrong one. I think it'd be better to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, at the Sean Morris.
Come on.
On IG.
What's up?
TikTok and all the things. Why is it difficult for you personally? Because I think it's difficult for everyone for some reason. Why is it difficult for you personally to be authentic? What stops you from being authentic? And then how do you overcome that thing?
Yeah. Man, I think for me, I kind of want to guard my inner circle, maybe more than I should sometimes. And so like, there's a saying that if you can count like your good friends on one hand, then you've got more than most. Right. So, I'm lucky enough to have a lot of people that I really know and trust, like on a deep level, right? And vice versa.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me because I know how valuable that is in my life to have somebody that I can really open up to, and somebody that I can like really let into my closet and see my skeletons.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to allow people that I'm just starting to get to know to see some of that stuff, because I'm afraid of, I'm in a leadership role, and I'm afraid of what that might make them think of how I've gotten to where I am, or of how I've had to overcome some adversity in my life, in my past, and how the Lord's walked me through that. It's hard for me to open those doors and just be wide open about stuff sometimes. And again, probably more than I should, I guard that inner circle of people that I have that with, because I know how much I value it, and I don't want it to slip away or let it into the wrong hands. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it totally does. It totally does. So how do you? I love this. I also love it because just scripture, some of the pieces of scripture just coming into my head right now.
Yeah.
it's super valuable. But before I even bring them up, I'd love to know, how do you practically overcome that as Sean Morris? Because I think it's a valuable thing. And I think checks like that are a good thing. It's just, how do we think about it? But how do you overcome that?
I think the hardest thing for me about that is, again, like seeing the value in it and realizing that there's more value to be had there. So opening up and letting people in. So the hardest thing for me to overcome with that is realizing that that there's more people that I can let into trust. So I think about Jesus and like the 12, right? And how he had his inner circle, but ultimately you're always going to have like somebody, even Jesus had it, somebody that failed him, right?
Yeah.
So I think of Judas. And if I'm not Jesus, right? I'm trying to be as much as I can.
You got a great beard, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm getting this little racing stripe of gray right here. I think I'm just going to let it eat.
You call it a racing stripe.
Yeah, man, it's because I'm fast. That's why. I ran all the color out of my beard.
Go ahead.
No, but so I think of Jesus, and I think of the 12, and even Jesus had his inner circle. But Judas, we all know Judas betrayed Jesus, and I think part of it is like I'm afraid of, like, I know my failings, and I know like how much I'm striving to be more like Jesus,
right?
And how it's a continual journey, right? And I'm not perfect, and I screw up all the time. And have to ask for forgiveness and all that stuff. But I'm just nervous that, like, if I have that one person that fails me, how I'm going to handle it would probably not be the best way. It probably, you know what I mean? Like, for me, that's really difficult. And so, like, I try to guard that inner circle as much as I can, so I have less of a chance of that happening, right? So in my mind, it's almost like risk assessment.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. And like the scripture that comes to my mind is, shout out to you wearing pearls again. I think I've said it like 4 times.
Bro,
but,
I'm going to get you a set of these. You like them.
I love them. Don't give pearls to pigs.
Come on.
Okay. So I believe that scripture helps us know that, like, hey, it's okay to have a check on how much you give somebody.
Absolutely.
Especially because trust takes time.
Yeah.
So what if you just called a timeout, you assessed the situation, and you went with levels of authenticity instead of going all in? Because not everyone deserves everything.
Right.
But you know what? Somebody deserves something.
And it's also for me too. Like, it just made me think of that. But it's also me guarding my time.
Yeah.
Right. Because what's more valuable to us than our time?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's also a way for me to guard my time and make sure that I'm putting my priorities where they need to be, and using my time as effectively as I can.
Yeah.
Because I know I have a limited amount.
Yeah.
Right. Throughout the day, throughout the week, and throughout life. So I want to be as effective as I can with my time. So I guess it's also a way of me guarding my time. And I didn't think about that until you were just talking.
No, it's good. I think authenticity paired with consistency grows community.
Yeah, 100%.
That is a great beginning point in growing community, because there's so many people that are lonely, and authenticity lets them know who you really are, so that you can hopefully one day learn who they really are. Mm-hmm. So as you take a step further into community, you have focus. Why is it so difficult for people to focus right now?
I think there's so many distractions.
There's so many loud things.
Like, the world is loud.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like, and this just may be, like the either the area I grew up in or the generation I grew up in or whatever, but like, I was never taught how to eliminate distractions. Like, that's not something that I don't think maybe you can speak to this as a parent, right? So sure. I'm not there yet, but like, I don't know.
Yet is the keyword there.
I never, what do you say?
I said yet is the keyword.
Yet. Pastor Greg Morris, my dad, we're gonna have a grandbaby soon. I promise. We will get you one.
Is this a pregnant announcement?
This is not an announcement, but my dad,
I promise like,
you.
We having twins?
Bro, look, the holidays are coming, and look, shut up, Thomas. The holidays are coming, and I promise you, I'm gonna get asked 18 times between Thanksgiving and Christmas, like, oh, when's that grandbaby?
Yeah. A lot of family.
I just got a new puppy.
Go ahead.
Be happy with that.
That's not a puppy.
It's not.
It's an animal.
Horse.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So big. Anyways, so
Focus.
focus.
It's a great idea. We were
Yeah,
just talking about focus, and we just got off it really quick.
We're terrible about this. So
But it's really important to talk about.
it is, man. So the world is so loud, and I was never taught how to eliminate distractions, like in an effective way. We're taught to pray, spend time in the Word, and that kind of stuff. But I didn't receive a lot of, and this is like not just on my parents, but like in school or in whatever activities I was in, extracurricular, outside of school or outside of church or home. So like I was never taught, like, I guess, good time management as well. So I kind of had to figure that out on my own, again, learning the hard way. And it took me a long time. I mean, I'm 37. I just turned 37. And
Good looking 37.
You know what? I appreciate that.
Good job.
I appreciate that. I've been working real hard on it.
Yeah.
It's my racing stripe. No, but it took me a long time to honestly get that skill down of like slowing my mind down, right? And going, hey, what's really important right now in this moment? What do I need to turn my focus towards to accomplish whatever the task at hand is? Whether that is something at work or something with my wife, right? Or with other family or friends. Again, that inner circle, people I let influence me and that I have the privilege of being able to influence. What is the thing that I need to do to kind of clear all those distractions out? It took me a long time to develop that skill set because it's not something I think we're naturally taught.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's another like hurdle that I kind of had to overcome throughout my time in ministry and just growing.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about, like, I was just thinking, what would it take to create a focused human?
Whew.
To help somebody
Yeah.
gain so much focus, mentality, discipline, Mamba mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mamba
yeah.
mentality, Mamba vision, or just mental ability to see and to stay seeing.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this. There's a way that someone said this about strength. They said, if you're going to make a strong human, you put them through really difficult circumstances to where they have to be strong.
Yeah.
So what if we started putting ourselves through micro-focusing moments to where we had to focus on the main thing or focus on a shorter stint? Like, what if we, instead of saying, like, I got to focus on this for the rest of my life, what if we just said, I got to focus on this for the next hour?
This is okay. This is so interesting that I love this. So, we were talking about Kobe earlier and how he was able to focus.
I
and
love
train.
this episode has been. It's just gonna be the Kobe episode.
We're just gonna call it
Austin,
that.
we're gonna have to make this the Kobe episode.
Kobe episode. So we're talking about how, like, his mentality, he was able to train himself to focus on the things that he needed to accomplish the goal of winning championships, right? I just bought a new puppy. We just talked about that. Sure. He's huge. He's a Cane Corso. He's 17 weeks old, and he's like 47 pounds. He's massive. He's going to be so big. But so we just started training, right? We just started training him. Sit, stay, kennel, all those things that you do with a new puppy. He's potty trained. He listens really great. But the training thing is like an everyday thing that we have to do.
Ooh, shout out to consistency.
Shout out to consistency, right?
Go ahead.
So it's something that we have to do every day because, so my wife, love my wife. She's a very small person, right? She's like 5'1", maybe like 120 pounds.
Greatest hairstylist.
So good, which is terrible to say because I'm wearing a hat today. But we're doing a lot of work here getting ready for Christmas. So that's why I'm all in black and trying not to be sweaty. But so she's a small person. This dog is going to be massive. It's going to be way too strong for her to physically control. So there's got to be another way to do it, right? Which is training him to listen really well and obey really well. You looking like you're liking this. So we started doing this every day. Like, we have a routine that we go through of training things. Like, we want him to learn these specific commands and be really good at them. Like, so that you say it one time and he listens right away, right? So if anything were to ever get out of hand, we don't have to worry because we know that he's trained really well. So going back to Kobe, he did the same thing, right? He had to realize at a young age, like, hey, I have to train myself, I have to train my brain to be really consistent and really focused on these specific tasks so that I can accomplish my goal. So this is something that, again, we aren't really taught at a young age, like how to train ourselves, right?
Yeah.
To focus
Yeah.
on a tasks or a set of tasks to accomplish whatever the goal is in your life, right? Again, learning the hard way. That's something I had to learn the hard way. There's an incredible book. I think you've read it. I think you have it. It's The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
It's a good book.
Slowing your mind down, slowing everything down and going, okay, let's calm down for a second. Let's look at what the goal is and let's work backwards and let's see what our steps are and where I need to focus right now. The ruthless elimination of hurry and eliminating distractions and stuff is not something that comes easily. So we have to learn how to train ourselves to do that, which is weird to think about. Like, I never thought about, like, when I was younger in high school, early in college, I didn't think about, like, oh, like, I have to train myself.
Right.
That's what discipline is.
Right.
Right? It's a key principle in Jesus' life.
No, dude, come on. Let me just reiterate what you just said for everyone and for myself. Gosh. You said your dog will get too big to handle.
He's going to be way too big to physically for Brooke to handle. I mean, he's going to be huge.
If you want a life bigger than you, and you don't want it
Where's the church organ
to get out of
Somebody
control,
turn the church organ on.
And you don't want it to get out of
Come
control,
on.
you have to begin now.
Yeah.
Slowly, steadily, consistently building a life of focus.
And, like, let's bring that into practical for a second. Like, if you're working right now at a job and you want to be at another level in that career path, what do you have to do right now? Exactly what we're talking about. If you are, let's say you're at a certain step in your relationship with the Lord and you know, I want to be up here. You have to do what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's applicable, which is what I love. Shout out Kobe. It's the Kobe episode, baby. That's
This
what
is
I
the
loved
Kobe.
about Kobe is, like, I can take those principles and apply them to my life. It's the exact same thing when we talk about, so people who aren't familiar with the principles that Jesus lived by.
Yeah.
We take the principles that Jesus lived by and the words that he said and his book, the Bible, and we apply those to our lives as the guide, and it helps us do exactly what we're talking about right now. And that's it.
And if you can do what we're talking about right now, this is not something that we've actually mastered.
No.
This is not something that you actually master. This is something that you attention to manage to so that you can keep moving.
Man,
attention to manage so that we can keep moving, man.
That's so big too, because, like, so I think about, like, my grandparents' generation. Like, my grandparents' generation's goal was get to retirement.
Yeah.
And then it's done.
Yeah.
Like, that's the finish line. And then I can ride off into the sunset, right? So, like, there was a lot of aspects of life that were passed down to, like, my parents and kind of passed down to me. But my dad has helped me kind of reshape my focus on of, like, hey, that mindset doesn't apply. It only applies to a very small section of life. The rest of your life is a continual journey. And you have to continually do what we're saying. Focus, grow, be attentive to these things, because it doesn't stop at any certain point, right?
Yeah.
I don't ever want to, so, like, let's talk about church for a minute. I don't ever want to stop being an effective Christ follower.
Sure.
There's not a point. I'm not going to get to an age.
Not a perfect one.
Right, exactly. Not perfect, but effective.
But effective.
It's very different. Very different. So there's not, I don't ever want to get to an age where I go, hang it up, put the shoes up in the closet, I'm done running.
Sure.
Right? I don't ever want to get to an age where I go, all right, that's it. There's the cutoff right there. I'm done. I've done what I can do. I've done my job. I'm out.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the third thing that you just said. You just literally said their commitment. You just literally nailed down your commitment to the thing, to the calling, to the vision, to the conviction, and you're trying to stay consistent because there's not an end date. You're playing a different type of game. You're thinking a different type of way.
Great book, The Infinite Game, Simon Sinek. I'm plugging all these books that I like to read or listen to. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, The Infinite Game, right? It's changing your mindset to realize like there is no finish line.
Right.
There's only attention to manage.
Yeah.
And how well you do that is it determines how far and how fast and how high you go.
Yeah. And so like as people think about commitment, maybe not they're not going to be able to get all the way there to the end. But when you talk in terms of authenticity and focus and having consistency with those two things, and we bring it to commitment, and someone says, you know what, I decide that I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to commit. We probably don't have enough time to talk about all of that. But what's the one reason people do not commit the most? What's the one issue that you see holding most people back?
I love this. This is making my brain starting to reel on what me and Austin were talking about. It's fear, and it masquerades as a couple other things. But ultimately, I think the root of it is fear. And it's something that was, again, this is so stupid.
Help me with my fear, man. Come on.
It was so it was a super big buzzword like, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago, but FOMO. You remember when that became like a big thing, fear of missing out? There's so many people, and this is exactly what Austin and I were talking about at coffee. There's so many people who are like, oh, but man, if I lock down on what I'm doing right now, if something better comes along, like I might miss it.
Ooh, yeah.
I might miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like fear of missing out on like something small, but like a big like life opportunity. Like a big life opportunity. That's what people are really scared of missing out on because, and I think it has a lot to do with specifically the culture that we live in, right? Because the economy moves so fast and fluctuates so often.
Yeah.
And we're all looking to have an abundant life, like the Lord says. There's a lot of us who are just going after it the wrong way. And so I think the biggest issue is we are looking to find our own success on our own. And that's leading us down a path that we were never intended to go down.
Right.
Right. And that is what's scary. What's scary is, all right, man, I guess I'm going to do this thing, but I feel like I'm all by myself.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm all alone.
Yep.
And if I misstep and I fall, there's not going to be anybody there to catch me, and I'm going to have to go back. You know, I'm not going to pass go and collect $200. I'm going to have to go back and start over.
Yeah.
And that sets me back so many steps in life, and things move so fast now. I'm never going to be able to catch up.
Can I say something right here? You will never, and I know you know this, but you will never be set back by your failure if you actually have friends that love you and support you.
Absolutely.
You will never be set back by failure. We can learn from it.
Yep.
We can grow from it.
Yep.
And what most people, I totally agree, what most people don't realize is that the foundation of their future is their friends.
Absolutely.
It's their friends.
Absolutely. Man, I was talking to a buddy of mine. So my best friend, shout out Matt Lee, I've known him since I was 6 years old. Okay.
One of your best friends.
One of my best friends.
Yeah.
This is my bestie. We said at the beginning of the episode.
This is the Kobe episode with
right.
Sean Morris.
I wish I was best friends with Kobe. That'd be amazing. So my best friend, Matt Lee, known him since I was 6. I've got a lot of really close friends, but like Matt and I have, honestly, like
long time.
I feel like we have the same heart.
Right.
Like,
sure.
That's how, we're just
which is a good way
so connected.
It's a good way to choose friends like-hearted, like-minded.
Yeah. It's how Jesus did it.
Come on.
So, but Matt has become the person that I can go to, and again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier about time and investment in the relationship and stuff like that. But Matt has become the guy that I can go to for consistency.
Yeah.
In my life.
You sure?
Right? When I need it, when I'm not consistent, when I'm falling because of inconsistency or all of these things that we've been talking about, lack of focus, I can go to Matt and say, hey, help me think through this, or what's your take on this, or your perspective. And he always, I mean, like literally every single time I've asked him, like, hey, what's your take on this? Like, it's been like straight Holy Spirit word of the Lord stuff just hitting me right between the eyes when he doesn't even know all the details of the situation.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know where I would be without people like Matt Lee in my life.
Right.
Right.
Because those people that we're actually in community with.
Yeah.
They do this. They're consistently authentic.
Mm-hmm.
They're consistently focused.
Yep.
And they're consistently committed.
Yeah.
To us being in community.
Absolutely.
I think that's what people need the most right now, man. They need encouragement. They need challenge. They need inspiration in all three of those things with a through line of consistency. And, man, I'm just grateful for you. I think that's a great way to end it because that just brings everything together.
Yeah, man.
And I love being around you. I love what God is doing in your life.
Man.
Dude, you're the man. And I can't wait to see what happens next, just as he keeps shaping and forming in the future that happens. But man, I know like my future comes into view with people like you that stay in our lives no matter where we are.
Well,
so
I appreciate that, man.
At the Sean Morris,
That's
if
right.
you want to connect, and
Yeah.
then this is the Kobe episode.
That's right.
Of the Full Vantage podcast with the Sean Morris. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be back.
100%.
Cool. Love you, man.
Love you too.